The air was calm, yet the hearts of disciples were restless, burdened by concerns about material stability and financial struggle. A young man named Sudha, troubled by fear, knelt before the Buddha and voiced his deepest anxiety about money. "Master," Sudha began, his voice trembling, "how can I find peace when the lack of wealth causes daily torment?" The Buddha gazed upon him with kind, knowing eyes and replied, "Sudha, the root of suffering often lies in attachment." The disciples sat silently, their eyes fixed on the enlightened teacher, awaiting wisdom to heal their inner fears and doubts. "Master," I began, my voice faltering like the breeze through restless leaves, "I carry a burden I cannot release." Buddha's gaze met mine, calm yet penetrating, as if seeing the depths of my soul. "Speak freely," Buddha replied, his tone inviting truth without judgment, like water embracing a thirsty root. The Buddha's voice softened, filled with compassion. "True importance cannot be taken nor given by others. It resides eternally within your spirit." The young man Sudha listened intently, each word chipping away at his tightly held belief in monetary power and value. The Buddha shared further, "I told Ananda that the essence of contentment does not arise from gold but from detachment and inner balance." I guided Ananda to meditate upon his blessings, the sunrise, the laughter of his children, and the nourishment of the earth. As Ananda reflected on gratitude, he began to see that abundance is not found in quantity but the richness of experience. The disciples murmured softly, the teachings stirring awareness and questioning the societal patterns that tether happiness to material gain. Sudha asked, "Master, must we renounce all possessions to find peace? Or can wealth coexist with spiritual harmony?" The Buddha responded patiently, "Possessions themselves are not the source of pain. Suffering arises from attachment and the fear of loss." Ananda did not cast away his belongings, but he embraced their impermanence, understanding that they do not define him. To own without clinging, to earn without greed, and to give without hesitation. This is the path of true freedom. The disciples nodded, sensing a truth that both challenged and comforted them, though their minds continued to wrestle with practicality. I turned to observe the tree, its branches heavy with abundance yet unmoved by their weight. The tree bears fruit freely, without withholding its gifts or fearing their loss, Buddha explained, his words steady. The generosity of spirit creates a ripple, and one day, this ripple returns to you as blessings in unseen forms. Sudha asked, "Master, if one's efforts bear no fruit, is this an indication of failure or a test of perseverance?" The Buddha answered, "Effort is never wasted, for even in apparent failure, it nurtures growth and builds inner strength unseen." Buddha approached the tree, his steps deliberate yet light, and placed his hand upon its trunk. "Imagine the tree feared losing its fruit," he said, his voice gentle but piercing. "Imagine if it refused to offer what it bore." I thought deeply, picturing a tree withholding its fruit out of fear, an image both unnatural and heartbreaking. Turning to the disciples, the Buddha said, "As you confront your worries, ask yourselves, what wealth lies beyond material possession? What joy do you find in the sunrise? The laughter of loved ones? Or the wisdom shared in silence?" The disciples absorbed the words, beginning to see that wealth of spirit outweighs any gold, jewels, or fleeting treasures of man. The Buddha concluded, "Sudha, know this wealth can be a tool, but it must not become the master of your soul. The mind that is free from the fear of lack becomes a wellspring of creativity, courage, and love for the world." Sudha bowed deeply, a sense of clarity dawning within him, his heart lighter as the lessons filled the spaces of worry. The disciples sat quietly, their eyes turned to the horizon, contemplating a life guided not by material craving but enlightened understanding. In the calm presence of the Buddha, Their questions found a resting place, and their burdens dissolved into the vastness of peace. Another day, another gathering of disciples, as the sun rose to light the serene path where they sought the Buddha's wisdom. A merchant named Vishaka approached the Buddha, her face marked with worry, burdened by the unpredictability of her income and livelihood. "Master," Vishaka began, bowing low, "the changing tides of fortune leave me unsettled. How can I find balance amid instability?" The Buddha listened calmly, his presence itself a balm for troubled minds, and said, "The winds of change touch every soul." "Vishaka, impermanence?" I asked hesitantly, feeling a ripple of uncertainty course through me. Buddha gestured toward the horizon, where clouds shifted and danced across the vast expanse of sky. "Love is like the clouds," he began. "They form, shift, and dissolve without clinging to their shapes or boundaries." I gazed at the clouds, their movements both fleeting and graceful, like a ballet without a scripted end. "Love, like the clouds, is neither static nor permanent," Buddha explained, his words a blend of mystery and clarity. "Its beauty lies in its freedom to transform and renew." I felt my heart stir, torn between resistance and surrender to the truth Buddha presented. "But what if love fades or breaks?" I asked, my voice tinged with fear. Buddha smiled gently, his expression free of judgment or impatience, as if meeting my fears with compassion. "Fear of loss only strengthens attachment," Buddha said, his tone unwavering like a steady heartbeat. The disciples murmured softly, the echoes of the story reverberating in their hearts as the Buddha's words painted hope's vivid colors. Vishaka asked, "Master, must we surrender to instability or fight against it with force and determination to protect our gains?" The Buddha answered gently, "Instability is neither friend nor foe. It is a wave to be navigated, not resisted with fear." I shared with Sumitra the wisdom of the river. It flows without resistance, adapting to stones, bends, and changing currents. Sumitra embraced this teaching, shaping her life not as rigid clay but as the flowing water, yielding to change and creating. Vishaka lowered her head, reflecting deeply upon how her own life mirrored the potter's struggle, and the lessons it held. The Buddha then spoke. As Sumitra found renewal, she discovered that instability can inspire creativity and uncover untapped strength within. The path of life moves through storms and calm seas alike. No state is permanent, and each moment holds opportunity. Vishaka asked, "Master, how can one find joy when financial uncertainty casts shadows over the future and clouds the present?" The Buddha replied, "Joy does not reside in security but in freedom from fear." I knelt beside the flower, touched by its silent yet profound presence, embodying impermanence without fear. "Let love flow as freely as this flower's fragrance," Buddha said, his tone steady as the earth beneath us. "Release attachment to permanence, and you will find peace in love's impermanence." My heart began to stir, like a closed bud gradually opening to sunlight and nourishment. Vishaka said, "Master, but how does one live without fear, when the responsibilities of livelihood demand constant vigilance and worry?" The Buddha's voice deepened with certainty. "Vigilance is wisdom, but worry is a chain. Wisdom prepares while worry distracts from truth and peace. Fear is not your enemy," Buddha said. "It is your teacher, guiding you toward self-understanding and liberation." His words resonated deeply, shifting my perception of fear from an adversary to an ally. Vishaka bowed deeply, gratitude filling her spirit, her worries lighter as the Buddha's teachings opened paths of resilience and understanding. The Buddha concluded, "To earn and to lose are moments within the dance of life. Peace arises in acceptance, not clinging. The shifting sands of fortune are not meant to imprison. Rather, they are meant to teach movement, adaptation, and freedom." As the sun reached its zenith, The disciples sat in silence, reflecting upon their own struggles and the wisdom revealed. The merchant Vishaka smiled faintly, her heart touched by the shared story, her burdens eased by the transformative power of understanding. In the Buddha's serene presence, her questions found rest, and her worries dissolved into the flowing river of life's impermanence. I inhaled deeply, feeling a flicker of clarity amidst the fog of my confusion. Buddha gestured toward the river, its waters glistening and flowing with steady, unyielding grace. Master, Janaka said, bowing low, I have earned wealth through great toil, but joy seems far from my grasp. The Buddha regarded him with serene eyes and replied, Janaka, the relationship between money and happiness is like a fleeting shadow. The river does not cling to its waters, Buddha continued. It allows them to pass. Trusting their return, I gazed at the river, its endless flow embodying the impermanence and renewal of all things. Let your love be like this river, Buddha said, his voice steady as the current. Give freely, without fear of depletion or loss. I felt a spark of understanding within me, as if Buddha's wisdom had planted seeds of liberation in my heart. Thank you, Master, I said, my voice carrying the weight of gratitude and hope. Buddha's expression remained serene, reflecting both compassion and quiet triumph. Your journey has only begun, Buddha replied. May you carry this wisdom forward, creating ripples that touch many lives. I bowed deeply, my heart lighter than before, ready to embrace the path ahead. Buddha's teachings lingered in my thoughts, guiding me toward freedom from fear and attachment. As I walked away, the morning sun warmed my path, its gentle rays mirroring the light within my soul. Birds continued their melodies, echoing the peace that now resonated within me. The disciples nodded, their hearts stirred by the wisdom that redefined the purpose of wealth and the nature of happiness. Janaka said, Master, if wealth creates fear and giving is freedom, how do we measure the balance between possessing and sharing? The Buddha smiled and replied, the balance lies in detachment. The village buzzed quietly, a symphony of life unfolding as I approached Buddha once again with questions lingering in my heart. His presence under the Bodhi tree was a beacon, calm and inviting amidst the complexities of life. I bowed before Buddha, hoping for guidance on a question that had haunted me since our last meeting. Master, I began, my voice steady yet fragile. I understand impermanence, but my heart still struggles to find peace. I encouraged Dhanapala to take a small step to share his abundance with those in need. And observe what unfolds, said the Buddha. Dhanapala followed this advice, providing food for the hungry and shelter for the homeless. And his heart grew lighter with each act. Janaka asked, Master, how does one ensure that wealth serves life, rather than becoming a tyrant ruling over it? The Buddha said, by aligning wealth with purpose, using it to alleviate suffering, foster growth, and bring light to others' lives. Money is a means, not an end. Its greatest use lies in creating conditions for joy, peace, and spiritual upliftment. The disciples sat quietly, reflecting on how their own views of wealth could shift from attachment to tools of compassion and growth. The Buddha concluded, Janaka, know this happiness arises not in what you have, but in what you are willing to share. The joy of giving is a treasure far greater than the treasure hoarded, for it nourishes both the giver and the world. Janaka bowed deeply, his mind clearer and heart lighter. The Buddha's teachings reshaping his understanding of wealth and true contentment. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, the disciples remained under the sacred tree, contemplating the Buddha's wisdom and timeless truths. In the serene presence of the Enlightened One, their questions found resolution, and their burdens dissolved into the stillness of peace. The swan's ripples touched the banks, fading gently without resistance or regret. Buddha continued, his words painting vivid images. The swan did not grieve the vanishing ripples, for its purpose was not to possess but to flow freely. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.